Tired of searching for podcasts? Try Storio, the only app you need to discover and follow podcasts from across the world. Get curated podcasts and playlists every day and listen to what your friends recommend. Share what you love and find what they love. Check us out on storivoyage.com/boom. Download on App Store or Play Store.
Welcome to Audiogyan with Kedar Nimkar, a podcast that documents insightful conversations with Indian designers, artists, musicians, writers, thinkers, and creatives of all types. Catch us on iTunes or visit audiogyan.com for more Gyan sessions. Here's your host, Kedar Nimkar.
Today I have Fenny Ganatra with us on Audiogyan. Fenny is a founder of Fenny G, a studio based in Mumbai making industrial products across the globe. Fenny has always been brought up in a design-centric environment, and she did her professional education from Raffles Design International in Mumbai. She believes a good product is not just about who buys it or who aspires to buy it, it's about the joy the user and the designer equally derives out of it. She has received the Red Dot Award in 2012, and today we are here to discuss about what's her inspiration, more about her work and the kind of material she uses to make beautiful and functional products. Thank you, Fenny, for giving us your time, and it's a real pleasure to have you on Audiogyan.
Thank you, Kedar, for having me here.
Yeah.
It's always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, nice. I've come up with 5 questions and we'll see how the conversation goes along, but mainly to encompass, I've kept the topic name as materials in detail. So, the first question is very fundamental and it will also set the context, which is...
Sure, let's get started. Come on.
So what comes first while designing, material or design idea?
See, while creating a product, material and design both marry each other. That's what I believe in, which enhances the experience of the user. Taking the example of Bounce, my debut creation, it was material that came to me first. I discovered silicon then, which is predominantly used in the medical industry for electrical insulations, etc. But for furniture, it's probably the first time that we thought of using it. And when silicon happened to us, we started exploring it widely. We started checking its tensile strength, its abrasion, its resistance towards outdoor weather, etc. And then we decided, okay, let's use this in a piece of furniture. So the product, the base is made up of polycarbonate, and the seating area, where you sit on, is made up of silicon. So when you sit on it, it takes the shape of your back without using any mechanical parts.
Wow.
And when you get up, it kind of nudges you out. It comes back to its original position immediately the minute you get up. So it rebounds. This is one of the quality of silicon too. So whether it's any weight, it can take somebody of 40 kilos to 150 kilos. It's been tested.
Oh, nice.
So anybody of this wide range can sit on it, be very comfortable, and just get up. It's not like you're going to sack in.
Correct.
That's the beauty of silicon.
No, but in terms of, say you identified this material first,
Yes.
but then how did you go about taking a shape for it? Because I'm just trying to figure out what came first.
The material, definitely. For this product, it's material. Generally, I feel it depends on the product, the need of the product.
But material in abstract sense, it's just material, right? There
Right.
are like thousands of them. So how did you think of silicon as...
Okay. Probably you've caught me right on the correct subject. Materials has been my thing. I have always been into exploring materials from the very beginning. There's always been a curiosity. So I would go around to factories, check out their waste bags. I'd see what's thrown away, why is it thrown away, and how we could use it, what we could do. So when I was growing up and actually doing my when I was studying in Raffles, And when we would get projects to do, I would actually step out of my classroom every time and go out to different factories, see what's happening, how can I use or merge or fuse two materials. And I've still been doing it. I mean, that's one thing that excites me even today. Like really, literally, even when I'm saying this, I think my tone's gone higher.
Yeah. So
I mean, honestly, we will keep exploring unconventional use of materials, which will transgress seamlessly into the world of virtual reality. I mean, that's happening, right? So we're just hoping to merge the two.
And what was the process like? Because say you identified this silicon as a material, then I would like to go into slightly the nuances of it. Like, did you think of making it completely using silicon, or you'll melt two parts, you'll join two parts, you'll have some base?
There is a base. I mean, particularly, are you talking about my debut product or in general?
No, in general, about Bounce, as a product. Yeah.
So, So first, when we were, so I explored silicon. It's amazing because it can be used outdoors. It has amazing colors. It has amazing tensile strength, and generally used for medical purposes. So it's fire resistant too, right? So if you put it out in the sun, you put it out in the rains, you put it out in the snow, nothing will happen to the product. So that's amazing because, we're talking about this product to travel across the globe. So it really excited me. And for the outdoors, you only have the conventional materials like your rattan and, MS, which is steel, all of those. But there was nothing fun available. And that's where I thought, okay, let's put this outdoors. It works amazingly well. Well, I really sweated it out because it was a true innovation. I stayed in China to manufacture it for months to get it right. Because the first time that we did it, of course, the silicon didn't react the way I wanted it to. Every time that somebody sat on it, it broke, because it was not of the correct composition. So we actually had to redesign the composition to make sure that it takes all the possible weights and doesn't sink in or sack in. It comes back to its original shape.
Correct.
So,
and how did you identify what's the base going to be like?
Polycarbonate. I chose that, which is the highest form of or highest grade of plastic. Also, if you see, this is used at the airports and for a lot of other products outdoors. So I wanted this to be a complete outdoor solution.
Okay.
And that's where I thought of polycarbonate being the base and silicon being the top.
So I'll go slightly more deeper into it.
Sure.
How do you overall, which you slightly touched upon earlier, how do you choose materials? Because there's so many things available in the market. So is it by instinct? Is it by study? Is it by something which you aspire, or something which you,
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, how do you choose one material over the other?
How do I choose one material over the other?
Yeah.
The choosing of material comes from the purpose of what the design is meant for and how it can be executed without altering the original design.
Okay.
We are a professional product creation studio and hence continuously love working on exploring materials and different techniques to treat it. For example, one of the collections was all about using traditional material wood and fusing it up with resin, which is a very modern today material. Okay, so have you seen that collection of ours?
No, I've just I may have stumbled upon it. But
no, that's fine. So it's amazing. So we actually scooped out so we took this big log of wood, okay, and we scooped it out in a very sculptural form, and then we poured a colored resin on top of it.
Okay.
And we made a table out of it. So it's amazing. So even today we explore and try and see how to marry materials, or try and see what could be done with traditional materials and add a modern day material to it.
Correct.
So that's what you see here.
Interesting.
And also there are several factors that make us choose one material over the other, like availability, cost, craftsmanship, timeline, recyclability, machinery, infrastructure, etc. These are all that really make us choose one material over the other.
Correct. And I think these like the last ones are more of hygiene, which you have to just live with it because it's a commercial
Yeah, I mean,
setup,
honestly, I would like to use the stars for my product, but you can't, right?
Yeah.
So you really have to see what's available. And also costing is important, right? While
Correct.
you're developing all of this.
Correct.
Cost is also a factor. Your market has to accept what you're doing.
But
My first product, I didn't think of all this.
which is the
Which is
bounce,
the
yeah.
bounce.
Yeah.
I just went with my heart, with my mind. But I also realize it's 8 years now of me practicing. I also realize that there is a market and you have to cater to it.
Correct.
So while we Touchwood did well with bounce, but also realized that there are so many other factors that you have to consider. And we've started considering that now. It's become a part of my brief every time that I go to the client.
So again, what you mentioned just now, how do you persuade yourself? You can take any particular work of yours, and how do you persuade yourself to go after the design which you have envisioned? Because as you mentioned, you would like to have stars also as a material.
I wish.
Yeah. So but there are certain constraints, right? But still, a designer has some end product in his mind, like,
Absolutely.
and this is how it should be. This is the finish it should have, and stuff like that. So how do you, first of all, I'd like to break into two. First is, what are the constraints which stop you, or what are the challenges which you come across to reach that end state which you had envisioned? And second is, how do you persuade yourself ki yes, this will work in the market, or this is the right thing for the client, or this is can you share
I will answer the second question first. I think it's all about instinct now. With experience, you kind of understand what your customer wants or what your client wants, and you start catering to it. It's only with experience, I think, and understanding of the market. You could probably say, yeah, this is the thing, this is what my client wants, or this is it, this is perfect. So I think that comes with experience. As you mature in the industry, that comes automatically to you. But otherwise, driving the whole process is actually, you're on a war, honestly, because it's not as easy as it seems, and for anyone, not just me, for anyone across the industry. So design is a mix of form, function, and technology. At the beginning, what exists is a concept in form of a sketch.
Correct.
Right? Always.
Yeah.
And then it evolves into a three-dimensional model. So we generally take it up on a software, make a three-dimensional model out of it. And as a designer, as the process is going ahead, yet I would have no clue how the concept is actually going to translate physically in a tangible manner. It's a surprise every time. Every step that you take, honestly. I have seen that, especially when you're talking about mass manufactured products.
Correct.
It's a surprise. It's absolutely. The process is very tedious and challenging. It takes several renderings and prototypes to finalize the look of the product, which would simultaneously serve the purpose of function too.
Correct.
So after the basic design is finalized, there are several things to be done, such as choosing the right material, running simulations to check the feasibility of the design, engineering the required molds, deciding the color scheme, sourcing the inventories. It's a complete long process. Finding the correct factory that can translate your design the way you want it to be, right?
Correct.
So it's absolutely crazy. It's a cyclonic battle. You're fighting against cost, volumes. So besides being a designer, there is logistically also you have to be really sound.
Correct.
For your design to actually transform from a piece of paper to reality and see it in retail stores. So it's a battle that you're winning every time.
Yeah, beautiful. In fact, I'm just discovering so many different aspects, because in my field, at least when it comes to UI, user interface design, it's about more directly getting into maybe a sketch required,
Sure.
and then get into the prototyping stage. But then it's the life cycle is small, because here you're building products which has probably 50 years, 100 years as the shelf life.
You'll be surprised, Kedar, after fighting this battle also, ultimately, the pleasure is when your customer enjoys your product.
Correct.
It's a continuous battle, that
Yeah.
you're going through.
Yeah.
And for me, happiness is when the customer's using it and he has the joy of experiencing it. And that's the time I would, really feel the satisfaction. Till then, it's all a battle. You're like running and, trying to get it out there.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And also living
And
with the constraints.
and at the same time, you're making sure that your design is not ruined, right? You want to stick to your original concept. So you're going back and forth between the factories, between the cost, between the client. But it's amazing. I love this challenge, and I'm always open to a lot of such challenges that come in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a different kind of high when you see the product out there in reality, people using it across the globe.
Yeah. I had interviewed the head of design at Harley Davidson.
Oh, lovely.
Chetan Shedjale.
Right.
And he also expressed the same feeling, because when you start sketching it, then it comes to and then it comes to a 3D model, a clay model, and then it's into manufacturing, and then it's actually running at 150 kilometers per hour on the road. It's a dream come true.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's amazing when you and also when you talk about mass manufactured products, you're talking about quality control as well. Okay, so for the first probably 100 pieces or 200 pieces, I actually have somebody from our studio. So we have besides the factory doing all their quality control, our studio has a team who just does this. They just see the quality every time it is produced.
Every piece.
Every piece.
Wow.
So the factory does it on its own. I'm fine with it. But no matter what, wherever it is getting manufactured, my team is always there in the factory when the packaging is happening.
This is just for Bounce or for all the products?
For all the products. For all the products.
Wow.
I mean, my name's attached to it. I mean, people value your brand name for a certain reason, and quality is the key. If your design's great, but quality is not,
Correct.
it's really not matching up. You know what I mean? The users would not even enjoy it. And I wouldn't want to give them such an experience.
So you're willing to take a hit if it's not up to that quality?
I've taken hits. I've taken several hits now. That's why I said you only mature through the process. You only, your instincts become sharper and stronger as you grow in the industry. So yes, I've taken a lot of hits. I've lost a lot of my watches.
Fenny, I would like to ask you more about the Bounce chair, because on the same lines, when you when you were designing the Bounce chair, you had again visualized how it's supposed to be, right? And so what were the trade-offs or challenges, which was the first part of the question? What were the challenges and trade-offs you did to achieve that, and how successful it has been as a product?
Well, commercially, yes, we have seen success. Also, it has. I still remember the first time that I drew it up on a piece of paper, and I showed it to. This product was done by ourselves. So when I showed it to the investors, etc., they almost thought, "What kind of a spider web are you asking us to invest in? What the hell is this?" And you're talking about something that will take the shape of anyone's body up to 150 kg and rebound to its original shape immediately. I mean, are we talking sane or insane? I still remember the expression. So we made prototypes to show them that, this can actually work. It was challenging. It was, because we were talking about mass manufacturing. So when you prototype, you have a single person kind of sitting and making it for you. But then we are talking about 500 pieces or 1,000 pieces. So we flew down to China to find the correct manufacturer for it. And I stayed there with them to train them. Like I said, the composition also had to get customized.
Correct.
To take the shape, to take the weight of the body, and at the same time be outrageous to the weather.
Correct.
Right? So the composition was made, it broke, the molds were made again. it was a very tough time. But yeah, it did see a light, and it was launched in Germany the first time. And like you know, how the people there are tall and healthy, they all were very comfortable sitting on it. So we had different people, different sizes. So it's traveled from Germany to US, Asia, Europe. I mean, it's really traveled. Yeah.
No, in terms of what I wanted to understand was there's a traditional chair which has a particular shape, dimension.
Right.
You explore different aspects within the same structure itself, whether it has handles, whether it has whatever, like different attributes to the chair, right? But this was like completely a new dimension.
Yeah, a
which you
lot
are
of people
taking.
could not even figure it that it's a chair.
Yeah.
So, yes, so when I drew the spider web, the idea was to think of it unconventionally. So when I was designing a chair, I could have taken a traditional shape of a chair
Correct.
and then put the web on it.
Correct.
But the angles, the ergonomics didn't allow the silicone to react the way I wanted it to react.
No, so that's the interesting part.
Right.
So first you envisioned, so you went ahead changing the design based on how the material was reacting, or you had earlier like thought of like having a round.
No, I had already thought of having a round chair.
Uh-huh.
Okay, but the angles played a very important role, because if my angle of the chair would change, the seating experience would change. It was not that comfortable. So we had to make sure it's at a certain angle and ergonomically correct, so that anybody of any height, any weight could sit on it.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. Fenny, obviously there are a lot of things to be like we can just go on and on for just
I'm
the
sure.
bounds, because the kind of time you have
Yeah, I
spent in
mean,
it.
I have already grown over the product bounds, honestly.
Yeah.
And we've grown in to doing a lot more other products. So after Bounce, we also did a flat pack version of Bounce, which was the Bounce Splint, which has a similar experience, but it's flat pack.
Okay.
So you could use it and then, kind of fold it up and put it on the side. So that was the feedback that I got from my customers, and that's why we did that. And then, like I said, I love exploring materials. So I started exploring resin as a material, and I made this very sculptural, frozen looking dining table for Maison et Objet in Paris. And then we moved on to doing a lot of commission projects. One of them, which I really, really like, is I designed luxury writing instruments for this company in gold and silver. And they were amazing. That was also one of my favorite projects. So we've really grown from doing the unconventional piece of furniture to even doing pens today, to even doing bags today. So we are really growing as industrial designers.
Wow, that's very inspiring.
Yeah, and also fun.
Yeah. I would like to conclude with one last question. I don't expect the answer to be preachy as such, but
Right.
let's see what you can share from your experience. Again, given like if I've interviewed people who are 30-40 years in the same industry and doing some work and then finding a breakthrough in some great design they have done, which happened to you much early, because Bounce is really like a different kind of product, and I personally think it's quite a breakthrough.
Yeah, I've been tagged as the bounce girl. Even today, I think till I die, I'll be tagged as the bounce girl. But yeah.
Yeah. So if you have to tell designers, like how can you bring breakthrough in your work? I mean, just having that conviction, just obviously there's hard work to it, but any learnings which you had to bring such a good product in the market, being like the early ones in your career?
Well, I just, like I said, perseverance really helps you. Dream and perseverance first will help you to get you wherever you want to go. Okay, and we believe teaching is the best form of learning, and learning from peers is the best way to grow. That's one of our mantras. I mean, I've always had ideals. I would always follow them. And product design, like I said earlier, is a cyclonic process. The development of the product can be really confusing. as when you're thinking you've almost reached the finishing line, you're still stuck midway, somewhere. But do not lose hope. You could just keep going. And the whole instinct of joy, don't lose up on the joy while you're going through the whole process. I also believe in ongoing user experience can possibly bring a breakthrough in one's work. So all the products that we do are experiential. They give some kind of experience. I mean, that's one thing that brings or differentiates our design from the others. I always believe in giving some or the other experience. With technology coming in, everyone's become robots. So when you have a product which is lying there and suddenly gives you the joy of using it, it's a differentiator, and people are willing to spend on such products.
Correct.
So that's one. I wouldn't say it's a tip, but that's what we do. Every designer has their own calling. So this has always been our calling. So it has to be experiential. That's what we feel.
Wow, definitely. And
So, I will just finish this off. Quite often, I give people the reference of fashion. Like fashion, even design trends are cyclic and are constantly evolving.
Correct.
Right? So keep evolving, keep dressing up your designs, modifying your work. And like I said earlier, dreaming and perseverance to bring products to reality is the key of any designer to get a breakthrough. Like really, I feel perseverance, keep pushing.
Keep pushing, yeah. I'm finding a big pattern here with doing so many interviews. I think this is the 99th interview which I'm doing.
Wow.
And so just few days back, I interviewed Nilofer Suleiman, and she said, keep digging at the same place till you find water.
Wow,
So,
I'm saying keep pushing.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah.
So I think anywhere you go, any industry that you're a part of, I think dreams and perseverance and hard work, of course, will just get you to where we are standing today and will take us way beyond our imaginations, I think.
Superb.
Yeah.
On that note, in fact, what can people look forward to? What are the new designs? So, sorry, one more question I had, which was, so there are these commercial products which you do for your living or whatever, bread and butter, and then there are these bounce or like the table type projects which you do as passion and want to introduce some new lineup in the industry itself.
So I will just cut you there, Kedar. I do two kind of work. I mean, I do two kind of things. One, where I cater to the briefs, and one, I don't cater to the brief. I just cater to my heart, my mind, and I will just go with what my soul is seeking, and I will not care about the volumes or the cost, nothing. And on the other hand, I will just follow the brief that my client gives me. So I know what the cost is, I know what the volumes are to be produced, I know the materials, I know everything. I mean, we work it out together so that it can sustain in a market commercially. Ultimately, it's also about sustaining commercially, customers liking it. There are so many tests that are conducted before we make a product.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I've differentiated it completely. One, I design with my mind, and the other side, I just design with my heart.
Wow, that's a very nice way to put
So
it.
all the money that comes out from here goes into designing for my heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got it. In fact, it's the same with Audiogyan, where I'm working and this is the project where all the money is going.
Sure, but you're doing it with a lot of passion, and it's an amazing initiative that you've been taking, and you're doing it successfully.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Kedar. We
Thank
like
you.
to see not just the 100th episode, but lakhs and like
Oh.
thousands, so many of them.
Thank you, definitely. Any concluding thoughts on what can people look forward to in your product lineup? If people have to follow your work, there's Instagram or...
Yeah, there is. There's Fenny.Ganatra. You could follow me on it. It's my personal page with a lot of product info on it. And our website. And that's it. If there's anything, just pick up your phone and call. There's nothing better than that.
Yeah.
But we are doing a lot of products. You will see a lot of them. We just completed a show in Mumbai 2 months back, which was with Decode, where we showed a fresh line of collection in marble that was designed by Moses Singh and me. Both of us partnered together on that collection. And we also did a show in Delhi with our manufacturers, Formus. Again, that collection was designed by MF, which is Moses and me. So we are also looking at partnering with people to, we're also open to collaborations.
Nice. Cool. I think all the best for that. And on that note, I will thank you again for giving your time. And it was wonderful chatting with you.
Same here. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
And that's it from today's Gyan session. Catch us on iTunes, Saavn, Stitcher or any podcasting app you use. Do rate us on iTunes and follow us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. Stay tuned for more Gyan on Audiogyan.com. Till then, bye.
Ugh, this phone drives me crazy.
Excuse me, I'm the Sprint intern from Sprint. Try my new iPhone XR with an amazing liquid retina display.
This is amazing. Mind if I snap a few photos? Look at that color. I love this display.
I'm gonna need that back.
Switch to Sprint and get iPhone XR 64 gigabytes for $0 per month with an eligible trade-in and a Sprint Flex lease. Visit a Sprint store, sprint.com/iPhone, or call 1-800-SPRINT1.
Phone $0 per month for 18 months after $31.25 per month. Credit applied within 2 bills. If cancel early, remaining balance due. Excludes tax. Subject to credit. $30 activation fee. Coverage and offer not everywhere. Restrictions apply.